Listen to my listen to my heartbeat.
In 1978, I spent some time in California in the fall, looking for a quiet place to live. I finally found what seemed to be the perfect apartment. But the night after I moved in, I heard a tremendous pounding sound. As it turned out, I had moved in right above a Hawaiian hollow log drum school. Every other night, it was converted into a hula school with a live band of 6 Hawaiian guitars. I decided to soundproof my place, but I didn't hang the door very well, and all the sounds kept drifting in. About this time, like a lot of New Yorkers who find themselves on the West Coast, I got interested in various aspects of California's version of the occult. We would sit around at night while the Santa Ana winds howled outside and ask questions to the Ouija board. I found out a lot of information on my past 9,361 human lives on this planet. My first life was as a raccoon.
And then you were a cow. And then you were a bird. And then you were a hat.
Spelled the Ouija. We said, a hat. We couldn't figure it out. Finally, We guessed that the feathers from the bird had been made into a hat. Is this true?
Yes.
Spelled the Ouija.
Hat counts as half life.
And then?
Hundreds and hundreds of rabbis.
Now, this is apparently my first life as a woman, which should explain quite a few things. Eventually, though, the Ouija's written words seemed to take on a personality, a kind of a voice. Finally, we began to ask the board if the Ouija would be willing to appear to us in some other form.
Forget it.
The Ouija seemed like it was about to crash. Please, what can we do? We were nagging it now. So you will show yourself to us in some other manifestation.
You should lurk. You should L-U-R-K. Lurk.
Now, I never really figured out how to lurk in my own place, even though it was only a rented place. But I did find myself looking over my shoulder a lot, and every sound that drifted in seemed to be a version of this phantom voice, whispering in a code that I could never crack. In 1974, I went to Mexico to visit my brother, who was working as an anthropologist with the Tzotzil Indians, the last surviving Mayan tribe. Now, the Tzotzil speak a lovely bird-like language and are quite tiny physically. I towered over them. Mostly, I spent my days following the women around, since my brother wasn't really allowed to do this. We got up at 3 a.m. and began to separate the corn into 3 colors. Then we boiled it, ran to the mill and back, and finally started to make the tortillas. Now, all the other women's tortillas were 360 degrees, perfectly toasted, perfectly round. And even after a lot of practice, mine were still lopsided and charred. And when they thought I wasn't looking, they threw them to the dogs. After breakfast, we spent the rest of the day down at the river, watching the goats and braiding and unbraiding each other's hair. So usually, there wasn't that much to report. One day, the women decided to braid my hair Tzotzil style. After they did this, I saw my reflection in a puddle. I looked ridiculous. But they said, before we did this, you were ugly. But now, maybe you will find a husband. I lived with them in a yurt, a thatched structure shaped like a cupcake. There's a central fireplace, ringed by sleeping shelves, sort of like a dry beaver dam. Now, my Tzotzil name was Losha, which loosely translated means the ugly one with the jewels. Now, ugly, okay. I was awfully tall by local standards. But what do they mean by the jewels? I didn't find out what this meant until one night when I was taking my contact lenses out. And since I'd lost the case, I was carefully placing them on the sleeping shelf. Suddenly, I noticed that everyone was staring at me, and I realized that none of the tzotzil had ever seen glasses, much less contacts, and that these were the jewels. The transparent, perfectly round jewels that I carefully hid on the shelf at night and then put, for safekeeping, into my eyes every morning. So I may have been ugly, but so what? I had the jewels. Full fathom 5, thy father lies. Of his bones are coral made. Those are pearls that were his eyes. Nothing of him that doth fade, but that suffers a sea change into something rich and strange. And I alone am left to tell the tale. Call me Ishmael. Around 1978, I met the comedian Andy Kaufman, and he was performing his Avant-garde Elvis act in a club in Queens. The performance started with Andy playing the bongos, and for some unknown reason, sobbing. We became friends, and I acted as Andy's straight man in clubs and field trips. At the Improv in New York, Andy would begin his show by insulting women and saying, "I won't respect them until one of them comes up here and wrestles me down." This was supposed to be my job. I sat in the club drinking whiskeys, trying to get up the nerve. In the meantime, I was also supposed to be heckling him. And after 3 whiskeys, I managed to get pretty abusive. Wrestling him down, though, was really hard because Andy really fought. On our field trips, we would go to Coney Island to try out some of Andy's theories on cutting-edge comedy. We'd stand around the Test Your Strength games, the one with the big sledgehammer and the bell. And Andy would make fun of all the guys who were swinging away. And I was supposed to beg him for one of the huge stuffed bunnies. "Oh, Andy, honey, please get me a bunny. Please, please." Finally, Andy would step up to the big thermometer and take a swing. The indicator would rise a few inches, and "try again, weakling" would flash. At this point, Andy would start yelling that the game was rigged and demanding to see the manager. We also went on the roto-whirl, the ride that plasters everyone against the walls of a spinning cylinder and stretches their bodies into Dopplered blobs. Before the ride actually starts, there are a couple of awkward minutes while the attendant checks the motor and the riders, bound hand and foot, stare at each other. This was the moment that Andy seized. He would start by looking around in a panic, and then he would start to cry.
I don't want to be on this ride. I've changed my mind. We're all gonna die.
The other riders would look around self-consciously. Should they help? He would then begin to sob uncontrollably. I loved Andy. He would come over to my house and read from a novel he was writing. He would read all night. I don't know if any of this book was ever even published. Now, I've never been one to hope that Elvis is still hanging around somewhere, hiding. But I will probably always expect to see Andy reappear someday. It was a large room full of people, all kinds, and they had all arrived at the same building at more or less the same time, and they were all free, and they were all asking themselves the same question: what is behind that curtain? were born. And so you're free. So happy birthday.
You know that little clock? The one on your VCR? The one that's always blinking 12 noon? 'Cause you never figured out how to get in there and change it. So it's always the same time. Just the way it came from the factory. Good morning. Good night. Same time tomorrow. We're in record. So here are the questions. Is time long? Or is it wide? And the answers? Sometimes the answers just come in the mail. And one day you get that letter you've been waiting for forever. And everything it says is true. And then in the last line it says, burn this. We're in record. And what I really want to know is this. Are things getting better? Or are they getting worse? Can we start all over again? Stop. Pause. We're in record. Good morning. Good night. Now in you, without a body move, and in our hearts we fly. Stand by. Good morning. Good night. One beautiful evening in the Garden of Eden, a snake came walking in the twilight. He was leaning on his ivory cane, and he said, "Let me tell you a little secret about life. There's a certain sharpness to a knife or a diamond. Another blue day in a nowhere place. We're singing hey, hey, nunny nay. I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Tip me over, pour me out. You know when the Egyptians built their steam trains, they didn't have any fuel to burn. No wood, no trees anywhere. But what they did have a lot of was old mummy rags lying around. So they gathered up all the rags and they burned them in their trains. They burned their ancestors for fuel. Ooh, I'm a crocodile floating down the river. I'm a tree catching my own oranges as they fall from my hand. I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Tip me over and pour me out. And hello to all the people who send me on the way. Pat on the back, have fun, it's your moment now. It's your turn to walk along the runway road. And me, I sent my better self on ahead. Your attention, please. It's like at the end of the play, and all the actors come out and they line up and they look at you, and horrible things have happened to them during the play. And they stand there while you clap. And now what? What happens next? When the fire dies, and there were furious winds, where we went. We're singing hey, hey, nonny day. We're singing hey, hey, nonny day. It's another blue day in a newer place. We're singing hey, hey, nonny day.
Oh, Superman. Oh, John. Oh, Mom and Dad. Mom and Dad. Hi. I'm not home right now, but if you want to leave a message, just start talking at the sound of the tone. Hello? This is your mother. Are you there? Are you coming home? Hello? Is anybody home? Well, you don't know me, but I know you, and I've got a message give to you. Here come the planes. So you better get ready, ready to go. You can come as you are, but pay as you go, pay as you go. And I said, okay, who is this really? And the voice said, this is the hand that takes. This is the hand that takes. This is the hand that takes. Here come the planes. They're American planes, made in America. Smoking or non-smoking? And the voice said, neither snow nor rain, nor blue night shall stay these couriers from the swift completion of their appointed round. Cause when love is gone, there's always justice. And when justice is gone, there's always force. And when force is gone, there's always mom. Hi, mom. So hold me, mom, in your long arms. So hold me, mom, in your long arms. In your automatic arms. Your electronic arms. In your arms. So hold me, mom, in your long arms. Your petrochemical arms.
Hansel and Gretel are alive and well, and they're living in Berlin. She is a cocktail waitress. He had a part in a Fassbinderfilm, and they sit around at night now, drinking schnapps and gin, and she said,
Hansel, you're really bringing me down. And he says, Gretel, you can really be a bit.
He says, I've wasted my life on our stupid legend, when my one and only love was the wicked witch. She said, what is his story? And he said, his story is an angel being blown backwards into the future. He said his story is a pile of debris, and the angel wants to go back and fix things, to repair the things that have been broken. But there is a storm blowing from paradise, and the storm keeps blowing the angel backwards into the future. And this storm is called